Do I enjoy being a heretic? At this point in my journey, yes and no.
Hello, beautiful fifth line heretic in human design. This video is for you if you have a 5-1, 5-2, 3-5, or 2-5 profile in your human design chart. This is part of a series in the profile playlist, so you'll definitely want to check out the other videos about the fifth line as well as the other part of your profile, whether it's a 2, a 1, or a 3. And if we haven't met, I'm Karen McMullen. My superpower is helping multi-dimensional leaders to really embrace total clarity about who they are, what they're here for, and to take their next steps with a lot of confidence. Because you're a leader, I would love to invite you to come and join me in the Grid Network for Light Leaders, which I host on Facebook. It's a free community. I've been doing a lot of readings over the years, and I've learned that most people don't know what the word heretic really means. Heretic is a term from the Catholic Church to describe someone who speaks a truth that goes against the church's belief. And back in the day, heresy was a crime. So anyone that spoke contrary to the church would actually be imprisoned. Basically, what it means to be a heretic is that you have a truth or you have a worldview that you're here to speak that is not currently the dominant worldview. And so heresy is often met with resistance, or also it attracts support because there will be people who will really resonate with the truth that you are here to share.
For me, being a heretic and being someone who speaks truth and goes against the status quo is all about the willingness to be seen in a truth that humans have not yet received. I feel that a huge aspect of that is the willingness to hear what Source is saying, wants to come through at this time, and is what I call the next turning of the fractal, meaning that it's not present currently in the collective consciousness, but it wants to be. And that's why you speak it, you offer it, and you are basically being the tip of the spear before anyone recognizes that a spear is necessary.
Yeah, so I go against the grain of what I consider to be stupidity. I was a born again Christian for all of 3 years, and then I broke away, and then I was a heretic because I'm like, this makes no sense. And the virgin birth myth is like a ancient Sumerian myth. It's just, and the risen savior myth belonged to many cultures before Jesus, and obviously he's not the savior, and maybe he's a mythical historic figure who had great wisdom and healing power. But this is an old myth respun out by the Roman Empire. So when I left the Catholic Church, I was very heretical. And then I got into enlightenment circles, third example, where non-duality was the big thing because of 2 spiritual awakenings. And then I began to be the heretic amongst the non-duality people, where I told them it was all a crock of poop and they were all caught up in their heads, and that wasn't enlightenment. So yeah, I tend to always break away from groupthink. I break away from what I considered ill-considered consensual reality.
To be heretic is for me to be unique, different, stand out, and I'm not always going to agree with everyone. I'm going to go against the grain, and you might see me calling things out as I see them as far as truth is concerned. And it's not necessarily going to be lined up with the way everyone else feels things to be. So I'm speaking heresy into this world here, and I don't buy the BS that has been given to us.
So I watch my neighbor's 7-year-old one night a week, and she has gotten me into video games. And the last time I watched her, I was on my phone and she was on her phone, and we were playing this game where you go in to this virtual community and you get a house and you get a vehicle, and there's shops and pools and whole like downtown area and all of this stuff. And we're playing there, and she's got her house and I've got my house, and we were looking at vehicles, and I saw that they had horses. I said, you know, let's get horses. Let's not get a car or anything like that. You get a horse and I'll get a horse. So we got horses. And what I did was I took her on a journey out of town. I didn't know that I was going to do that, but we got on these horses, and everybody else in this game, you know, because there are other players there, were, you know, going and visiting each other in their houses and walking down the street, and they're all in this downtown area. And we get on our horses, and I'm pointing in this direction out of town, and I said, well, let's ride out of town and see what's out there. And we just rode and rode and rode, and we rode so far out of the game that we kind of broke the game and couldn't get back in. So that's a real palpable recent example of that heresy, the shining of the light onto a different path, saying, hey, there's a different way to play this game, and let's see how far out we can go with this, and see what that brings us. And we went so far out that we broke the game. So, and realized that we were in a control program.
Do I enjoy being a heretic? At this point in my journey, yes and no. I enjoy it in the sense that I know that I'm going to, whatever I speak is going to be counter to what everyone else is saying. And before I understood that it was being heretical, I used to say, am I just a contrarian? Like, it's always just the opposite, right? And as a person who loves peace, I struggle with that a bit. That said, I grew to understand that I've been entrusted with something, and that this isn't an easy path, but it wouldn't be my path unless I was capable of doing it. So that's the enjoying it. The difficult part is that it can be challenging to see words that are spoken that are more common and a part of the narrative. They get all the marketing, all the, hoopla, all the accolades, and knowing that there may be aspects of the work that I'm here to put out that don't reach that zenith until after I leave the simulation. And so learning to be good with that and simply saying, I do what is mine to do. And I don't worry about numbers and if everyone else catches on in my time span or my lifetime. It may take longer than me.
It is kind of sad. I mean, I've always really loved learning about actual heretics,
Yeah. Yeah.
and how they experienced their life. And a lot of them didn't experience the fruits of their knowing in their lifetime. Another heretic that I like to give an example of is Martin Luther King, because he said, I have a dream. People amassed around him, and he was speaking a new world view that was receiving a lot of support and also a lot of resistance.
I personally handle that resistance by simply allowing them to have it. I really do believe that I'm not here to be an evangelist or proselytize people or change their mind. What I'm actually here to do is to speak truth. And so if a person is ready to receive it, they can hear it, they feel that inner resonance, and then it shakes something loose. And if they're not, and they get angry or irritated or what have you, I leave them to it. It's like, I don't agree with you. Okay. That's my response. Okay. And I just leave it there and let them work it out.
Yeah, I think knowing that people are skeptical of the five is a situation for me that sometimes is to my benefit, because they're not necessarily expecting me to come up with a good solution or a good kind of to fit what they want, So it gives me a little bit of time that I can kind of maneuver a little bit I can adjust how I'm approaching them. And sometimes I build up to what I want to express. And other times I just ignore them, because a lot of people don't have the capacity to come to, they'll always be skeptical. And it's just not possible to position myself in a way that will overcome that. And I'll usually recognize them pretty quickly. On the other side, I think sometimes I take advantage of that, because usually in that situation, they've allotted me in a place that is of lower intelligence that they're at. And it kind of makes them feel powerful over me, and they'll try to put me in my place without realizing that I've actually just been watching them and waiting for that opportunity to say, you're totally wrong, and here's all the factual reasons as to why you're incorrect. And it's not to put them in their place, it's to create a situation that their personality is really attached to, where they're expressing their ego, and to say, okay, here's your powerful ego, and here is my expression. Not a reflection, but it is my expression of how of my interaction with you, on the same level, right? Because they're at their top, and they've put me in a place that's below it, and now I'm saying that, well, we're equal. Now I'm going to express my view now.
I did a really fun interview with Namaste Moore about how to be a projection ninja. So you can check that video out there if you like. In our next video, we're going to be talking about the projection field within which the 5 exists, and how important it is for you to understand this property of the 5, because it will help you to manage other people's expectations of you, and to know like when to interact and when not to. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.